Introduced in 1963, Jeep pulled off the wraps of their all-new, quirky-looking SV models. The company was ready to blow the competition out of the water with their personal and commercial truck and van offerings. 30 miles per gallon, a manual transmission, simple styling, and a small price tag. Today, we'll be talking about Jeep's interesting and rather confusing set of Spanish cheap Jeeps of the 60s and 70s. Welcome to Wagoneer Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Slay Automotive Art. My name is Garrett. If you're new around here, subscribe and comment the word more if you'd like to see more Jeep history videos just like this. Okay, let's get into it. To start out this video, let's wind back the clocks to the year Henry J. Kaiser, founder of Kaiser Fraser Corporation, took possession of Willys Overland for $60.8 billion. This merger took place in Willow Run, Michigan, 1953, forming Willys Motors. One of Kaiser's first orders of business was pursuing and finalizing to import Willys Jeeps into Spain. By 1960, a Spanish company by the name of Vehículos Industriales y Agrícolas S.A. I am so sorry for my Spanish skills. That level 2 Spanish in high school did not get me very far. For short, they were called Viasa or Viasa. They were granted permission by Willys Overland to build an overseas version of the CJ3B under Willys license. The model was built in the Viasa, Zaragoza, Spain plant. Viasa was a Spanish automobile company owned by Construcciones y Auxiliares de Ferrocarriles.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
CAF was a big leader in building railway cars and locomotives, which are self-propelled vehicles that run on the rails. By 1963, a couple key events had taken place. Number one, Willys Motors had changed their name to what we all know and love as Kaiser Jeep Corporation. Number two, the company came out with a spectacular Wagoneer model. And number three, Jeep unveiled 4 new SV models in Spain. The first 2 models were vans, named the Toledo. This passenger van was like a mini bus, being able to seat up to 9 people. It was marketed towards large families and people transport services. The other van offering was called the Furgon. This was a cargo van that could seat up to 3 and was intended for business use. The 2 remaining vehicles were pickup trucks, named the Compidor. This 2-door truck was marketed as a workhorse and had seating up to 3. The other pickup truck was a 5 to 6 seater crew cab looking truck, which is pretty cool and seemed ahead of its time for being able to stuff that many people into a truck. The Jeep SV models offered the following: a 3.7 liter straight 6 named the Super Hurricane engine, good for 105 horsepower, or you could choose a Perkins diesel 4-cylinder tractor engine, no specs on size, pushing out a whopping 62 horsepower and 145 foot-pounds of torque. Both engine offerings were paired to a 3-speed manual transmission. These vehicles were marketed towards farmers, small businesses, and families in smaller cities and rural areas. They were for folks living a modest lifestyle who preferred function over flashy style. The 4 SV models had a mission in mind: low cost to build, low cost to purchase. Designed to simplify manufacturing, sourced engines, body on frame construction, each of these models were purposely thought out with straight sheet metal and sharp edged bodies. Essentially, the SV models looked like a box on wheels, unlike the wonderful and tasteful works of American designer Brooks Stevens, who designed the Willys station wagon, Jeepster, and Wagoneers about all around the same time that the Viasa models came out. These Spanish Jeeps were simple and straight to the point looking. The Jeep SV models ran a 20-year lifespan with minimal changes. Later on in the mid-70s, the company replaced the old 3-speed manual with a new 5-speed stick paired to new, more powerful Perkins engines, such as the P4D 210 horsepower engine and P6D 220 horsepower engine. Unfortunately, no word on displacement and other specs for these 2 engines. With these 2 new engine choices, all the 4 SV models had a new top speed of 63 miles per hour and an impressive 30 miles per gallon. Holy smokes. The Jeep SV models were distributed and sold under several different oddball names, which can get really confusing really fast. Here we go. Jeep-Avia, Ebro-Avia, Viasa Jeep SV, Avia Jeep, Avia Ebro Jeep. So oftentimes you'll see a lot of this Ebro name being associated with these Jeeps as well as other vehicles from other manufacturers. By the late 1970s, Motor-Iberica, parent company to Ebro Trucks, took over Viasa, who also absorbed many other small Spanish vehicle brands and divisions, such as Alfa Romeo's van branch, AISA Trucks, Seata, and Perkins' Spanish engine branch. Motor-Iberica was known for building British Ford-based trucks and badging them under their Ebro nameplate. I know all this may be very confusing. Lots of odd partnerships going on here. Anyways, fast forward to the late 1970s, Motor-Iberica had changed their Ebro truck names to Avia, hence the mention of the Avia name from earlier. In the same time frame, Nissan took a 34% stake in the company, later raising the stake to 52% in 1982. By 1986, Nissan took complete ownership of Ebro and all of its licensing deals, still continuing to produce Avia and Ebro Jeeps. Yes, if you caught this, the Ebro name oddly made a return. These vehicles were sold in Spain as well as being exported to England and France as well. By 1983, after being introduced in 1963, just 20 years later with minimal changes, the SV models had ended production. In 1987, the company had changed their name to Nissan Iberica and continued to sell these Jeeps well into the early 90s. However, by then, most of these vehicles were made in bulk and they were custom orders. Today, the company still builds Jeeps for Chrysler. When in Europe, if you spot a Wrangler, more than likely it was built by Viasa at their Zaragoza, Spain factory. What do you think about the Jeep SV models? Hopefully this video wasn't too confusing. There is so much weird, out of left field information on these things. They sure do look kind of cool and exciting. Have you ever seen one? Comment down below what you think about these weird Jeeps, and if I missed any key information that you may know, post a comment down below. Subscribe for more Jeep history videos just like this and give the video a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching, and before you go, check out this video here next.